Hi everyone, this is Sharon. Before I do today's flip through, I just want to share a little happy mail package that I got from Val. She's a viewer of mine and she was so kind to send me some really neat things in this package, and I just wanted to share them with you, and that you know that some of these things will be making their way into the journal that I will be sharing with you today. I just wanted to show you her wonderful little business card. It's not little, it's rather large, but it's so neatly put together and collaged. And she's got an Etsy shop. It's called My Little Maine Cottage. She's also on Instagram and YouTube, so you might want to give her a check out. So what she sent me was this collection of beautiful old postcards, and she knows how much I love old furniture and chandeliers. And so she sent me some postcards here with all these beautiful images that contain chandeliers in them. So I will definitely be using them in this journal and some journals to come in the future. And then she wrapped those in a bundle of wonderful vintage fabrics, and I absolutely love this one. And so I will definitely be incorporating these into my work as well. So thank you so much, Val, for sending those my way. I really appreciate it. Hi everyone, this is Sharon. Today I am bringing you my latest design team project for Christy at Everlasting Journals. What I made for this project is quite a good sized journal. I wrapped the front up with 2 different colors of sari silk ribbon. I like the way they blend with the cover, which I'll show you in a minute. And then I've also embellished with this vintage brooch, which I really love the way it goes with all of the colors and materials on the cover. And I did something a little bit different this time. I made a wrap to go on top of the cover. I did not want to touch the cover because it is a beautiful old antique book. So I made this. And what I did was I took an antique French postcard and I made some fabric tabs on the side that I strung these ribbons through. And I glued that to this vintage envelope that went from Istanbul to France. And then on the back of it, just for some extra little places to tuck things, I added this vellum belly band. And then in there, I just tucked a couple of old postcards. I like this one from Paris with the writing on it. And then there's this one from Antwerp that's kind of artsy. So I will put that aside. This is a beautiful old book cover that I bought from Jacqueline at Souvenir de la France. And I do believe it is from the 1800s. It's got a beautiful spine, this marble cover, and the back side. So I really didn't want to do anything to that. It's in pretty good shape. And then as we go to the inside, I did something a little bit different than I usually do. I usually line the inside of my hard book covers with paper, but I took some of that beautiful fabric that I got from Val in that Happy Mail package, and I lined the covers with that. And what I did was I glued the fabric to a piece of cardstock using PVA, and that just gave the whole thing a nice strength and sturdiness. And I think it just allowed the fabric to lay flat. And then I was able to glue that whole piece down onto the cover after I had this glued to the cardstock. So that's the front, and then this is what I put on the back. And then I just used an eco-dyed cotton fabric for the spine. As far as digital kits go, I really focused, especially the pages, on Christy's kit 29 and 30. And then for the ephemera, I used a mixture of a whole bunch of her kits. So on this first page, I embellished with a piece of this beautiful old lace. And then this, Jacqueline sent along with this book cover some of the original book pages that were part of the book. So this is the title page from that book. Here I did a little bit of stamping, and then I created this crisscross kind of a pocket down here from a vintage piece of linen. It's got some pretty embroidery on there. And then I'll try to remember to show you the background pages as well because they're so gorgeous. It is always a joy working with Christy's kits because her style, the style of her digitals really fits my aesthetic. Okay, so here's one of the postcards that I got from Val that I stuck in this journal. Beautiful picture of Queen Mary's bedroom in Edinburgh. And then this antique invoice. It's a French one from 1925. Here I added some embossed paper to the top of that page. And then on this side, I created a pocket, embellished it a little bit with some watercolor swatches and some fabric. And then in there, I've got this little kind of a mini folio that I made. And then in there, I tucked a couple of original photographs that I just did a little bit of stenciling with stencil paste on those. I think I have my ring light a little bit lower than normal, so these shiny things, you can really see that light. I hope that's not too bothersome. I shouldn't have too many shiny objects in here. Okay, on this page, I took some of her beautiful papers to line the edges of these pockets. And then in those pockets, I created a couple of really tall tags. And on these tags, I sort of set them up like sampler tags. So I took, these are pieces, I think I have an example here. I bought a cigar box a little while back, and inside it had all these little tobacco bags. And some of them had remnants of the labels on them yet. And that's what I used for these swatches. So I just cut some squares and I did a little stamping on some of them and then slow stitching on others and just embellished the whole tag. Then I've got this avocado dyed paper on the back side. And then here's the other one. This is printed on some Lakta paper, L-A-K-T-A, I think it's spelled. It's very much a rough kind of texture to it, handmade paper. And then over on this side of the page, I created this top tuck and just embellished with a little bit of sari silk and decorative stitching. And then in there, I created this little booklet. And I added in to the inside, or sewed in, this glassine bag, which is very crumpled, very well worn, but you can see through it nicely. So I just tucked an antique postcard on that side, and then on this side of the pocket, I have this library catalog card that I embellished a little bit. That can be used for writing on the back side. And I just love this plaid from one of Christy's kits as well. And then I also have this tall journaling card that I made from a flashcard. You can see the numbers underneath there a little bit, and I just created a tuck on the back side that can be used for tucking things in. Here again is one of the original book pages with this beautiful illustration on there. And then this is just one of those onion skin kind of protectors, which I left on, and I just did a little bit of light stenciling on that. And then on this side of the page, I added a label and some lace to embellish. On this page, I created a vellum belly band, and then this is what the page looks like on the back side. And then in there, I tucked one of Val's chandelier postcards and this beautiful old check from 1881. I just love these. I wish I would have purchased more of them. They're so beautiful. On this page, I just embellished or stamped up in the corner. And then this is a page from a French embroidery book. I just embellished that a little bit and used some washi tape to reinforce the page. And then on this side, I've clipped on this tag that I made. Again, with some beautiful images from one of Christy's kits. This is an Edith Holden book page. And I created this little side tuck here. And this is an original antique French seed packet. And some old checks that I thought would be fun to use for writing on the back side. And then I embellished this side of the page with this kind of a toile image. And then that flaps open and I've got this pocket that I created. And then in that pocket, I've got this little booklet that can be used for writing. And then I created, this is kind of like a floating pocket. I've got it tied up with string, and on the inside I just lined it with some scripty paper, but you can tuck some things inside of that. Here I created a top tuck with this vintage envelope, and then in there I've tucked an old French postcard and then another piece of French ephemera. Some beautiful script on there. I'm assuming there was a stamp or something of some sort in that corner. On this page, I just created this little fabric flip with this embroidered linen. And then here I printed this beautiful image on some crinkly paper. And then I just lined it with one of her background tapestry images. Just got some very subtle kind of, I think it's like embroidery or something on there, but it's really pretty. And I just did a little bit of stenciling on there. This page I embellished with lace. Here I took an old piece of cross-stitch linen and used that as my corner tuck. And then in there I created this journaling sheet. Did a little bit of stenciling on the back. And then I added this old Italian book page in there. And then I've included a number of castle images in this journal. I just love, there's a lot of greens and castles in here. And I just embellished this tab a little bit on the bottom there. On this page, I created a double belly band with some of her beautiful images. And then this is the background page. And in there, I tucked this card. I just added this a little bit of this dotted tulle on there. And then there's room to write on the back. This is another beautiful original book page. And I just did some very subtle stenciling on there with stencil paste. I think you can see that, hopefully. And then this is an antique, from an antique French book, a garden book from 1906. And then on this page, I took some vintage velvet ribbon in this really pretty kind of a mushroom color. And I just made some crisscrosses, and then where they crossed, I put some brads in there to kind of hold everything together. And then in that pocket or that tuck, I created this little folio. Actually, it's a large folio. I love to use the word little, but it's a large folio. And I actually recorded a video, a little video tutorial on how I put this together. I'll be putting that out later this week, so if you're interested, you can stay tuned for that. But it basically has this tie ribbon that acts as both a tie and some belly bands on the inside that you can cinch up and just stick some things behind those. So here I just added some writing paper and then this little calling card there. And then I embellished the flap with some fabric and lace. And then on the back side I have this lady image. One thing I want to mention about this is one of Christy's collage sheets. And sometimes what I like to do to add a little bit of dimension is to print it twice. So I printed it once on copy paper, and then I printed just this image again on that locked up paper that's kind of a handmade paper, and it's thick and has some dimension to it, and then I just glued that down, and it just gives, like I said, a little bit more texture to the page. Here I've got a cluster up in the corner with a wax seal, some linen, and this beautiful lace. I think this was a hanky. And then on the strings I added these vintage stamps. Here's a top tuck that I embellished with a little bit of lace, and then in there I've got this old French notebook page. I don't know if there's a date on there. I'm not sure. I just like the handwriting. And then this is an antique prescription, and I'm almost positive that these were from the 1800s. On this page, I took a piece of old antique wallpaper and just clipped it on the page, and then took a rusty pin and added a piece of lace and this beautiful French fabric on there. This is a nice writing page, and I just embellished it with a couple of stamps. And then on this page, I've got this pocket with a little ruffle on the bottom. And then in there, I tucked some images that I kind of cut apart from one of her collage sheets, but they all provide some nice writing room on the back. And then as the base, I've got this library catalog card. I just clipped them all together with the rusty clip. This page I embellished with a little bit of metallic punched paper, some old ledger paper. Here on this page, I added these tabs on the side that almost look like little buckles, and I put them over the top of this belly band, and I stitched it in the middle to create two pockets. And those little buckles on the side, they kind of hold in these little tags that I made. This is a piece of 1700s rag paper. And then on the top of that, I've got this little piece of linen with a bad hair day. And then some lace over the top of that. Over on this side, I created this flip, and then I just added this beautiful image on there. I think it coordinates really nicely with the flowers. And then I just added some writing space on the back side. In the center of this signature, I made two pockets with this beautiful goldy green velvet ribbon, and then I just put some antique lace over the top of those. And in this one, I've got a piece of embossed paper and this tag. That's what the page looks like behind. And then on this side, that one. And this is a little side tuck that I created in here so you could stick something in there. Here again, I've got a flip and some writing room on this side. Along this page, I just created a pocket on this side, wrapped it around, and then did some decorative stitching on there to hold it on. And then I added some additional lace down here and up here for embellishment. And then in that pocket, I've got, can you tell I've been watercoloring lately? I've got this swatch page and just some writing room on the back of that. And then this table of contents from a vintage French book. On this page, I just kind of embellished the side of it with these 2 wax seals. And I took a piece of sari ribbon and just kind of wove it behind those just for some interest, and then glued those down. Here on this page, I created this tab and I just strung some beads on there. Another beautiful castle image. Here on this page, I punched the side and then added a little bit of stenciling with ink. And then over on this page, I have this journaling spot that actually hangs over the top of the page. So there's this side, and I've got some seam binding ribbon on the bottom. And this is just the edge of an old scarf that I used as my hinge. And I just left the fringes on there. But that hinges this front to the back. And then that's what this side looks like. And then on the inside, there's lots of writing room there. Here, this page is a piece of onion skin paper with some beautiful French handwriting, not French, is it French? No, English handwriting on it, and it's from 1900. And I just doubled it up to give it some extra strength, but also there's a nice little secret pocket in there that you could use. And then on this page, I've got this dotted tulle as a fabric flip. Could write underneath there. And I embellished the top of that with some lace and a button. Again, another one of the original book pages. And then over on this side, I took some fabric and just cut around the leaves on that fabric to create these corner tucks. And I added some lace to embellish it. That's what the back paper looks like. And then in there, I tucked this large journaling card, one of her tapestry images. I just added some ribbon on the top. And this piece of book spine, I thought looked like an old kind of a scroll that went with this beautiful image. So I put those on there. And then this is the back. Here I created a belly band with this beautiful tapestry fabric again. Fabric image. And then in there, I've got this waxed envelope. This is from one of Christy's kits. And then I just tucked a few tickets and a tea card in there. And then this is a vintage French piece. Just love that purple on there. I think it was from a playbook or something like that. Here I created a pocket, and in there I've got this antique French envelope, and that one is dated 1863. It still has the original seal on it, which I think is neat. And then I've also got this tag in there that I made. There's just a little pocket on the bottom of there that can be used for tucking things in. On this page, I just did a little cluster of fabrics. Here I created a side tuck, and then in there I tucked one of these little floating pocket things. I just call them Heather pockets because I first saw them done by Heather at Rose Hill Cottage, but it's where you fold the paper up and you create a couple of pockets in the front here where you can tuck things into. So I tucked into mine this, it's a Reader's Digest book page, but it has this crown on it that I just love. And this page has been floating around my desktop for a while, but I thought it fit perfectly in here. So there's some writing room on the back of that. And then I just tucked in this vintage button card. And then I embellished it a little bit more than just folding up the paper. So this folds out. I added this kind of spine on there with a little bit of decorative edge on there. And then I tied in with this hemp string a doily, paper doily that's on the inside. And then this is some of Christy's beautiful background paper. Here I did some stencil paste along this side. And then on this last page, I clipped an envelope on the page that I made. And I'll just pull that off. So I lined the top and the bottom edges with this cheesecloth, and that's what holds it together. Added this image of this lady. And then on this side for the flap, I added this metal filigree piece. And then I embellished the edge here with a piece of paper that I punched, and then I just added some writing paper on the inside, and then I also lined it with one of Christy's beautiful images. And that is it. So I thank you very much for coming along with me today. Really appreciate you being here. Until next time, bye-bye.